Last year, when I used to do a lot of podcasts, through my previous initiative called Pitch Camp, we had most of them speak about India and US. So now it's good to see, founders say India and other countries rather than limiting to one country.
You know you can't take money. You worked on that customer. What are you going to do? You're going to say, hey, I'm not going to serve. If your cost is too high of serving, then maybe if it is not, then just let it be and let the COVID be out in a month or two, and then just say, hey, during COVID, I gave free service even though we burned cash. So you talk to them, ask them to pay for your prior period. They may pay later.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Foundership Accelerator's AMS session today. We have a great speaker today, a founder, mentor, and an active angel investor in our ecosystem. Santosh and I are very excited and privileged and humbled to invite Ravi Trivedi today. So welcome, Ravi. Welcome to Foundership AMS session today on Go to Market.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So to do a quick poll, how many of your founders, you can just type in F here in the chat box. If you're a founder, you can type F. If you're a leader, you can type L. If you're a team member, you can type T. Very nice. So we got most of them are founders here today. Excellent. So how many you are at revenue stage, right? And you have say more than 10 customers. So you can type in an R there if you're in revenue stage and having customers. Awesome. So how many of you sell in India or to the US or both? So you can type India, US or both, or other countries. India as well. Nice. So most of them have opted other countries rather than saying just US. So that's an interesting trend. Last year, when I used to do a lot of podcasts, through my previous initiative called Pitch Camp, we had most of them speak about India and US. So now it's good to see, founders say India and other countries rather than limiting to one country. Awesome. So if you, I think this will also be a good time as early guys who have come in, put down some of your questions on GTM, on what you think is one of your problem statements. GTM means a lot of things, so Ravi is going to cover about it. And so the way we are going to run this is, we'll do a quick intro of Ravi, and then he has about 10 15 minutes of sharing his thoughts in a structured manner through a deck, and then we'll open up for questions, right? So Ravi, so welcome once again, Ravi. So thank you so much. So Ravi, a quick introduction. Ravi is the most recently he was the ex-founder of PushEngage. He's an angel investor, entrepreneur, and a terrific growth marketeer with over 22 years in the industry. His last engagement was with PushEngage, which got acquired by Awesome Motive. So this platform was a leading push notification platform. They had customers across 150 countries, which led to a multi-million-dollar acquisition. Earlier, he also bootstrapped couponrani.com, a coupon site in India and Southeast Asia. As an active angel investor, he has 7 angel investments and held 2 successful exits. Right. So, very warm welcome once again, Ravi, and over to you. Would love to get started and hear your framework on how to build a good go-to-market strategy.
Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for being here. So what I'll do is I'll start with a small presentation which actually talks about some of the basics of go-to-market. This will, level set all of us. And then from there, I will love to kind of make it interactive and you can ask questions. So the first thing we're going to cover here is how do you actually build and what's the framework? And again, I'm just jumping in directly because I know you guys are interested in, I guess, what happens. So this has been kind of my background. Thanks again, Santosh and Bimlesh covering the background. But what I wanted to say was I have kind of spent maybe half of my journey as a digital marketer or growth marketer, and the remaining half in investment and startups. So I have this framework which is called the 5 steps to making your go-to-market plan, and we will cover it. And I will try to go at a medium pace, not very slow, but we can. If you guys feel that I should take questions in between, raise your hand, and I will let Bimlesh and Santosh see if there are questions. Otherwise, I can stop in between as well. It's not like we have to stop at the end. So let's begin. So the 5-step framework begins by the first question we ask. The first question, seemingly very simple, is often the hardest. And the question is what business or market you are in. It's the existential question, which is what is it that you are doing, right? For example, you could say Redbus, right? Redbus was, what is the business they were in? Were they into ticketing for consumers, or were they solving a problem of filling the seats for the bus companies? And so as you kind of peel the onion, this isn't an easy question, but that's the question you need to answer, which is essentially around what is the problem you're solving and for whom are you solving? Once you answer that, you have to ask, is it a new market or is it existing? So if you're building another CRM system, it's an existing market. But let's say you're building the next photo sharing app, which has something like a 3D or whatever, virtual reality, where there is nobody there, that's a new market. Because this all will have bearing on your GTM. Like I said, the problem is the most important, the pain point that you're solving. You also look at what is the frequency of purchase. Is it a one-time decision that a buyer makes, or is it frequent? And then I guess the next step is the product market fit. Is the product that you're making closer to the market that you're targeting? This is kind of, I guess, a segmentation question, which I'm putting it here. The idea here is, are you targeting the SMB, the enterprise, or the mid-market? And is your product around that? Because that also, in some sense, define the business you're in. But let's take an example of Freshdesk, right? And if I was maybe a classroom, I would have asked you interactively. Again, maybe it's not a bad idea to still ask you guys. If I asked you what business is Freshdesk in, I mean, do you want to put in the chat, or like, what do you guys think is the business of Freshdesk? Maybe one or two people want to share. Then I'll share my thoughts on that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and put it in the chat box.
Yeah.
Okay, Radhakrishna says SaaS. Okay, guys, go ahead. Let's make it.
Okay, SaaS. So SaaS is broad. But what is Freshdesk doing? What is the problem? So I said talk about the problem. So the problem it is solving a problem that a customer has, that it needs, a resolution to a problem. And when it raises a complaint, it needs a tracking for it. And so that is the customer support software, as you may call it, right? And so so it's like a one-stop solution for support or for customer service. And then who is the market? Like, is it a SMB, or is it a mid-market, or is it enterprise, or you think it's everything? That's another question. I don't know how many of you are aware, but it's a question to think. Okay, so Radhakrishnan says, actually, what I understand, it is actually started with SMB and just going into mid-market. So it isn't an enterprise. You get much higher value products out there which are in the enterprise, right? So these are kind of some basic questions which we need to answer, I guess. So that's the first step. The second step, then kind of moving on, is, let's say you do know what is your positioning, what is the problem you're solving, then it's actually kind of intertwined with the first question. What is your ideal or the target customer profile? People use the word ICP because you will be building your product for this profile, right? The question is, do you build for the ICP or build first and then find your ICP? I don't know how many of you think we should first just build something and find who it fits for, or should we first interview and then build? Do you guys have a preference, you think, there? Should we first build and find out, or should we first find who our target is and then build? What do you think? Do you build for ICP or you build first?
First customer build.
Okay. Find ICP. Yeah. So I think you guys are right. So I think what we find is, while I cannot say there is, so a lot of us do that. I build it first and then we find ICP. And that is very common across, because we just, okay, I know what it is. Let's build it. But this is one of the other things where we say it's much cheaper if you can go and interview the ICP, and most of us, maybe if we are developers, we are shy, we don't want to talk to customers, we may not know how to interview, but that's the point I'm making. It's much often better if you actually find your ICP, get the understanding of that, then you build for it, then just build first. But it's okay if it's like a very simple stuff where you can just do it over a weekend, and then you can just put something out and then do a discussion. I mean, it's also fine, you know. And then of course the next question is, who will pay for it? Pay for, because I'll give you an example. If you're building a product for children, right, for kids, right, you know their parents are paying, right? So you need to know, okay, who's paying for it and who are you marketing to, right? So that's the, again, the understanding in the ICP. Then finally, I guess, is your market large? See, you want to target, but are you targeting so tighter that it's very small, right? Is it large enough? So that's kind of the second part in who's your ICP, right? So think of that. Of course, the more focused your target market, the lower the cost per acquisition for your customer. So that's kind of, I guess, the second principle. First step was finding your market and the business. Second is ICP. Now, after you have done that, again, this is a very specific step. I have written it saying, now make sure all your messaging, whether on your website or in your brochure or whatever way you're reaching out, it should be honed towards your ICP. Now, this is also one of the common things we do. We just put a messaging. Maybe it's messaging about what we are proud of. Oh, I may be proud that my application is always up, but maybe the customers don't care. So the point is, don't create messaging you want, create for your target ICP, right? And it's okay to ignore a set of audience, because you may say, oh, my ICP is this, but it can also serve something else, right? Now, the broad messaging always has poor conversion. So let me ask you this question. How can you find, is there one, what do you call it, a dipstick metric or a single metric that can help you see, is your messaging good on your website? And I've given the answer there. Can you guess that metric is? It's in Google Analytics. And I'll maybe go one more step. It's bounce rate. But can somebody tell what is a bounce rate? I don't know. I mean, do you know what's a bounce rate? Maybe if you can put in the chat if you know, it'd be good. If not, then I'll cover in like 10 seconds. So here is the thing. So Google is full of metrics, and most of them are vanity. Vanity means good to see, good graphs, but not actionable. So you should know what metrics to focus on. Yeah, so people who don't engage with the site, right? And the way they measure is, there are two measures. One is if you are on the site and stay less than 10 seconds, or you visit only one page. Those are the two ways by which they measure bounce rate. And so you can go, all of you can go and see what your bounce rate of the site is. And I can tell you, if you're a content site, your bounce rate should be on average, this is a good benchmark, below 40%, right? But if you're a SaaS site, maybe 50, 60, but you're getting into 80, 90 territory, you got some challenge in your messaging. Again, I'm sure there are a lot of nuance to it. I gave a very broad number. It all depends on SEO versus PPC, but just keep in mind, is your messaging targeted? So what all we did so far? First step, find the business and market. Second step, find your ICP. Third step, make sure your messaging is towards that. Okay, so these are the examples I usually do in the workshop format. Again, if I'll probably rush through, I'll do only one, and I'm going to at the end, if you, I'll rather take your examples and answer you, and if there is time, I'll take the other one. So here is the, I'll just put a full screen and ask you. So this is a landing page. You guys are able to see clearly, right? So yeah. My question is, what is a good, bad, or ugly for this page? This is a Groove. Groove is also a help desk software company. Yeah, and I'm going to say, okay, no USB coming out. Okay, CTA included. Everything is clear. Okay, good. Let me cover the few points. So first is, if you go, what is called, well, the screenshot is what is called above the fold. Now, this is a very important concept. I hope you know, but if you don't, let me cover. What is above the fold? Above the fold is the portion when you land on a page and you do not scroll. Why is it important? Because the statistics shows 80% of the people, or 85, do not scroll down, which means if you've got anything below this frame, they're not reading it. So this is your way to reduce your bounce rate in this, in the first 10 seconds, and of this section is what you're looking for them to be captured, right? So now if you look at it, okay, say simple help desk software. Okay, clear, I know what it is. Okay, you got a video. Now video is a mixed bag. Some people will say it's good, some will say bad. You have to test. Why? You got a premium real estate, you filled it up. But if you're likely to click, Yes, you probably will be more engaged because video is more engaging. You got a simple CTA, you got a single element email as a CTA. That's good. Then you go down, you got more social proof. That's also good. Now, what could be different I can talk about is there is no phone number mentioned here. And we'll maybe, I'll just flip the next one, which has a phone number, is good and bad. I mean, phone number is usually good for a business where the ticket size is not small, like say a free charge where you are getting recharges, right? Because it's only for support. But phone number is often good for credibility, right? But like just things, but from a messaging, if you look at the point we covered, and probably what I covered here was kind of outside what I discussed to some extent, but if you look at it, the messaging is good, crisp messaging, and it says delight your online customers with awesome personal support. So that's the point I was trying to drive, right? Okay, so that's one. I have a fresh desk old example. I'll skip it. If we don't have enough questions, we'll come back. Now, we have done the 3 steps of the 5-step journey. The first step was finding the business in the market. Second was finding the ICP. And third was getting your messaging aligned towards it. What's the fourth step? Now you need to find those tactics or those methods by which you can reach to your ICP. So the question to ask is, where are these people? Where do they hang out? What do they do? What are their habits? Everything about them. So, for example, in my last business of push notification, the target market was e-commerce and blogs and publishers on newspaper sites. So, for example, then I would be looking at, okay, where do the e-commerce site owners or maybe the product manager of that or maybe the marketing manager who's buying hang out? So they could be, for example, on a place like a forum like a growth hacker, or they may be in a forum like a Shopify forum, or they may be searching, so things like that. So the idea is, think of your ICP, then look at where do they hang out, and then I will show you one tool which I think a lot of you may be familiar, and then analyze the tactics. You just put it on a piece of paper, the 5 or 10 tactics. Again, this is where when some of these guys, Santosh and Bimlesh, do this long program, they help you build this. You put those tactics on a piece of paper, then you say, okay, where do I think I will get the ROI? Where I think it makes sense, and then you usually with startup you pick just 3, test it out, and then find, right? So how do you find the tactics? Of course, you will use some of the common sense and some of the industry knowledge, but more than that, you can use tools like SimilarWeb. This is an example specifically useful if you have a large mature market, like we took Groove HQ. Now, if you see Groove HQ, I can very quickly see you got 57% people coming direct. I don't know. I mean, if this was a class, I would again ask, hey, do you know what does direct mean? What does it mean? I mean, what does it indicate? So again, a lot of us, I mean, maybe you can put in the chat, but a lot of us know direct means it's a brand recall. People know your brand, they're coming to your brand, right? So that's good to know. That's not helpful for me to make a plan. Let's go to the next one, search. So we know search is important, all right? The next one is links. Now, links is interesting. That means they're running maybe an affiliate program. Maybe they have these content bloggers. And then I said, okay, let's go deeper search. So anyway, I know what search is. So I went deeper into links, and there I have written the list of referring sites. Now, all of a sudden, I'm looking for, okay, let me check. What are they doing with VR chat? Is it just a regular support traffic that is coming, or do they have a partnership? And all of a sudden, if I have, let's say, the data of their referring sites, I am looking at what are the partnerships they have. And why am I doing it? If it's a mature market, you have a bigger bigger competitor, they might have figured some of this out. And it's not a bad idea to just learn from that, right? So the idea here was to use some competitive intelligence to look at that if you didn't know, right? So having said that, now we are at step 4. 4 steps are done. We have found those and we are doing the test. Then what do? We measure each step, measure the cost of lead, cost of acquisition for each of the tactics that we said. Let's say we are doing SEO, we are doing email, then we are going to make a funnel and say, okay, what does it take to acquire a customer in this channel, right? And what is the benchmark with the industry, right? And there are so many things we look at from a metrics perspective. For example, instead of looking at what I call as macro conversion, meaning from lead to customer, you will look at intermediate conversion. Like this one is for e-commerce. You're like, okay, how many add to cart? If you're a SaaS, you will say how many people start when they land, how many people take a trial, which is a free trial. And then from free trial, say how many people activate, meaning they register or finish the install of the product. And then you will say from install, how many go to paid. So there are funnels for each business, and then you will make those, right? So that's kind of the whole idea of testing and building it up. And so this is a bird's eye view. And again, like I said, I know the foundership team runs this program where they help you build and help you refine, because this is a journey. You first define your market and a business, define your ICP, hone your messaging. And again, I've added share or differentiator because you want to tell, like I know somebody was saying the USP is not clear. And then you kind of talk about where do your ICP hang out and make a plan, and then run campaigns, test marks. I know it seems simple, but most, I guess, good things or good frameworks that work well actually are simple. So this is where I'll stop. I know I was going to take AMA. So this is the AMA. Please go ahead and put your questions, and I'll let Bimlesh, moderate the session.
Yeah.
How do we kind of, any questions or anybody wants to ask a question?
Questions have already come in. Thank you so much, Ravi, for that quick, short, key 5, areas that comprise the GTM framework. So the first question is from Amaya Shah. He runs a company called Logibricks Technologies. So his question is: the people ask for free trial period for SaaS software. How should that be really leveraged or optimized for ensuring client conversions?
Okay. So people ask for free trial period for okay. So I think the first thing in that is to make sure you make a funnel like I was talking about. Often it depends on the type of product that you have. Is it a product that you are building that actually requires a free trial is a question you should ask, right? Maybe the product does not require a free trial also is a question. And again, this is what I have found out, that sometimes if it's like you could do a test and say that no free trial and just a paid plan, even a $1 or $9, it's better than free trial. That's one question. I'm just adding that, okay? Because this I've learned over many years that you make more money even with taking a $1 versus having hundreds of free trial. That's first. But second thing is, what you really need to look at is the funnel. Okay, people have taken trial. What is the next step? The next step is, are they installing it? Are they using your product? Yeah. Now, after that, the next step is, when do they reach the aha? When is the aha of your product reached, right? So that's the next step, right? So that is so what I was trying to say was, the next step after that is going to be, have they installed, then have they gone to aha? And then if they've gone to aha, and then they should usually buy. So I think it's a funnel in their models, and you got to kind of close on each, right? So you can, again, if you're looking for benchmarks, I'm happy to answer. Depending on the type of software you have, you can get install rates of 50 to 70%, meaning 100 people register, 50 to 70 should use it, but it all varies. So that's kind of what I did. Go ahead to the next one, please.
Sure. Thanks, Ravi. Next one is Rajkumar. He's the founder of Vegas Innovations. He's one of our cohort startups, and he's trying to build a fitness community, right? And he's at an MVP stage. So his question is: I want to target school kids for exercise training, for fitness. Schools are closed now. Should I opt for social media as a channel?
Yeah. So I think the question is, where are these kids? So the kids are at home, we know, right? Right. So if we know the kids are at home, so if the kids are at home, then how are they reachable, right? Are they doing any online thing, right? Social media is just a very specific tactic, right? So the question is, are you able to get them online, right? And I think mostly the answer will be, yeah, maybe your target segment, what you're building is online, right? Then you can say, yeah, social media is fine. I can give you some more ideas. So I'll give you an idea of Yellow Class. I don't know, have you heard of Yellow Class? They're a platform which give free summer classes in all the areas to the kids. I don't know how you'll monetize, but that's amazing, because my son is going to go to summer vacation, and I was like, what is he going to do? So they have this platform, and so a platform like that, which is already targeting kids and creating these summer classes, is great, you know. So I would, instead of jumping directly to social media, maybe you're great at it. In that case, absolutely go to a platform which already target kids, because it's easy for you to then list your stuff and kind of monetize. That's what the other one I would do is, yeah, by all means, you can do a free session or like a trial class or whatever, advertise or whatever way you want to do, and maybe do a 1 or 2 free classes, and then maybe just get the bug. I mean, it depends on that, but there are many platforms right now, is what I say.
Got it. Thank you. Next question is from Sambhav. He runs legal compliance. So we are into legal compliance business with volume. Costs also increase as it is human intensive, but not SaaS. So should we actually be doing this online, taking online payments and documents online from clients? What service will be impacted?
So I think this is more of a efficiency question. And my answer to that would be, you know your business best, so I will not answer. But in general, what we know is anything that you move from offline to online increases the efficiency. So online payment is of course easy, because otherwise who's going to track, right? Who's going to track when the payment came? That's just a small thing, but huge benefit, right? And again, you guys can ask follow up to that. I don't know if there's an option there, but the question there is, of course, that makes sense. And documents, absolutely, because it's easy to trace. And so traceability is easy. And also you can build more processes, because if the documents are online, then your team could be remote. It's not like one location. And I'm sure you're already doing remote stuff. So yeah, so all those are good ideas. And service, can be part online, part offline. So you have to look. See, I'm a big believer in automation, but I would also flip the question and say it's not about me, it's about the customer. Are they getting a better service in terms of reduced cost, or better, faster service? Then that's your answer. The online or offline or all these are secondary in my opinion. But often when we use technology, we benefit, is what I'll say. Right?
Awesome. Fantastic. Any more questions, folks? If not, I have
Okay, so
a
I have
bunch of questions.
There is another one I see there. Gagan is asking point. I see.
Okay.
Okay, no, that I think yeah. There are a few more.
Yeah. So let me go through. So I'm also seeing it. So give me a second. So
Yeah.
I see
Should
this
the
question.
marketing, yeah,
Yeah,
should
go
the
ahead, sir.
marketing tactics consider burn rate as a priority initially?
Should the okay? Where is the question? Okay, who asked? Sorry.
Gagan,
Gagan?
Should. So here is a point to that, and this I come across. I didn't cover because this is a GTM session. Often we value money more than time. This is a common challenge with startup founders have, because they have very little money. But time is equally valuable. That's essentially the question you're asking there. The point is, if you do not put any marketing dollars, which I call as a seed capital, to do what I call as a seed or like early acquisition, you will never be able to get to the customers who will use your product. And if you don't get enough customers using your product, you'll be just sitting and just waiting. That time is not worth it. So absolutely, you have to have a budget to be able to get enough customers from the day one. And it doesn't matter whether it is paid or not paid. That is secondary. There is a huge bias in the industry. People talk about, oh, I did it without money. That is all BS. It doesn't matter. For you, what works, you got to see. If you can do it without money, great, but don't overemphasize. Time is equally important. Go use your FB ads, Google ads. Idea is, once you build your product, you need to get the people to use it. Without that, it's sitting there, it's no use. Okay, are there suggestions working for web development agency? Is that the next one? Okay.
Yeah, that's the next question.
So the question, I guess, Vijay, for you will be, what is your question? For which type of suggestion are you looking for? Are you looking for how to get more business? And I'm assuming that if you are not, then put a question follow up, and maybe you can come online. But see, web development agency, very mature market, a very hard space to differentiate. Everybody is differentiating mostly on the price, right? So what do? Number one, get reviews. You can be in these marketplaces, get reviews, 5-star, 4-star. When in a mature market, your reviews by your customers. Now it depends again. So that's why I have to ask you more questions. Are you the kind who's doing the high end? So there are no reviews like that, then you have case studies. But if you are the mid tier or the lower end, then you've got tons of these sites which have reviews and you can use them. That's one biggest way. Of course, price is another. The third one which I use is, if you can be, and if you are that, can you be the thought leader? And how do you be a thought leader? That's something which I guess a lot of SaaS companies have to do, which is, if let's say I'm doing push notifications, how can I project as a person who knows about the space? And so I'd be writing benchmark reports, white papers. So for example, if you're a web development agency and PWA is a big thing, progressive web apps. So I'll be writing how to build a PWA. Think about what are the things my customer is searching for. You'll write on that. And then you will also be writing on what are the topical things they're thinking about today, which are hard, and they can differentiate you as an agency which has depth. So that's kind of how I would position. But then again, the question is pretty broad, so that's best I can do.
Yeah. Next question is from Vivek from InstaHippo. When you're creating a new market, are there any techniques of convincing potential users of the value proposition?
So new market is always a hard one. Again, I'll have to maybe get into what exactly you're doing to answer it more accurately. But a new market is more like, you try, and then you can, you got to kind of get people to use. And I guess the way I would say is, I mean, there isn't like a simpler technique I can say in the new market, right? You got to maybe look at somebody who's an early adopter, and who's
Yeah.
that profile, and then go to them and see, will they find value. And I think the new market, there's a lot more, I guess, testing and iteration is what I can say. But you look for early adopters, but we'll have to go deeper, I guess, to answer it more. And especially in the new market, maybe the trial periods are longer. You give a free trial, and there'll be many people who will be say, okay, I'll use it free, and then that's how you kind of justify your value prop. Yeah, go ahead, Bimlesh. What's the next question?
Next one is from Sanmaya. His startup is in stealth mode. How to acquire initial MVP testing phase customers from US? How to arrive at messaging for that international market?
Yeah, so the thing is, US or otherwise usually doesn't matter. What matters is the I guess, in terms of the acquisition and one thing, not the messaging. Messaging will come to in a second. Is there enough volume for the product you're building is a question. If you have enough volume, and what volume I'm talking about, the search volume. If there's enough volume, then you can have ads or other ways by which you can acquire from US or any part of the world. Yeah, it'll be expensive, but you can do it. That's one I would say. The other way you can acquire from US is organic search or content marketing, right? Those are the ways I can think of acquiring customers from across the world, but it has to be like a horizontal, like if it's a email provider or push notification, it doesn't matter for them, right? So that's why I'm saying that, right? Now, second is, of course, the messaging, very important point. Make sure you have a native speaker from that country, meaning those who speak that language. Do the copywriting check. A lot of us, when we write, we have enough grammar mistakes, and the reader, let's say from US, knows the English, and they can make out that this is full of errors, and that lack of trust is there. Even if you have a wrong comma, they have a lack of trust. They think you don't have attention to detail, and they will go away. So it's a very important thing to make sure the copy is tested in terms of grammar, etc., is what I will say.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
Next question is from Hemant from IntelliCook.
Okay.
Mission cooking, experimenting before prototype.
I think it's not a clear question. So maybe we'll ask him
Yeah.
to come. Maybe we'll let's take one or two quickly, and then we'll take
Yeah,
live
yeah.
questions. I think live would be good. I think, do you guys
Sure.
want to
Yeah, we can switch on live.
Yeah.
Anyone come,
guys,
want to
maybe
come
raise
live,
hands,
most
or we
welcome.
can go one by one, those who raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gokul, you
We
can
have a
come
much
live.
deeper conversation. Anybody wants to come live,
Yes.
we can have a deeper conversation around
Yeah.
any
So
problem.
I want to actually also call one Himanshu. I think he asked a question on PushEngage. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
on the top I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
Naveen.
go ahead. Let's take Naveen. Yeah, please go ahead, Naveen. What's your question, please?
Hey, you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for this, Ravi. Actually, I run a sports performance company, and recently we targeted the youth players. That means at the age group of 14 to 17,
Okay.
and we created a platform to track all their performances with video, data, stats, and numbers. And now
Okay.
the sports is not on,
Ah,
and we've got some paid customer. I mean,
ah,
let's say it's a small set, and we have
ah.
a huge set of players who have not come to the platform yet. Okay,
Right.
now
Right.
what are the ways I can do so that which I can bring those a bigger, large people to come to the platform, and
Mhm.
also make I mean, also not diluting what a paid customer is currently providing to me. I mean, like try to get the new set of people coming in, but also keeping something extra to the paid customer.
Right. So I think the challenge there is, what kind of sports were you tracking? What was it? Badminton,
Currently it's football.
football. Now that's a hard one you're giving me, right? Because unless I play football, you won't be able to add value because you depend on them playing football. Correct, Navi?
Yes. So Ravi, we actually uh, collected close to 700 odd players' information with their
I see.
details, and
Uh-huh.
out of 700, we have got only, let's say, 50 people who have become a paid customer to it.
Got
Now,
it.
how
Very
do I
good.
go and get the 650 odd people to know about the platform and also come into it, also making sure that 50 people get an extra thing, and not to make
Got
it a
it.
free
So,
kind of
so
a
the
platform.
650, why have they not come? Is it because they're not playing, or is it because they never got to use your product? See, if you have got the phone numbers, you can just call them and ask, and you do a demo or do something for them to. I mean, if it's a product issue, or is it a see? So if you take out the COVID, because COVID I can't solve. I'm telling you openly. If you say I have something which I sell in the COVID, and I mean there may be some creative solutions which I don't know if I can come up with right now. But
Right.
what I'm trying to say is, barring COVID, if you ask me, I can tell you. So if it's a question of 650 not signing up, you can even do interviews and say, hey, I will pay you X rupees if you come like a Amazon card. I want to know why you didn't use my product, and just do
Okay.
interviews and ask them. Or you get on a call and is it the install which is hard? I don't know the question. I mean answers there, but you got to
Yeah.
dig why they didn't come, right? And give some incentive, do something for them, and then get them to use. I guess because your conversion looks very good, right? Like 50 is pretty good, right? Is what I can
Okay.
say. But it's a
All
very
right.
targeted. So that's one answer. The other is, again, if there may be crazy ideas out there, they may be doing some exercising, so you could do something else. So those are ancillary, given it's all online, is what. But I mean, those are like, I'll leave it you to decide that. Right? Is that fair?
Okay. 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 Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Naveen.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll now go to Gokul.
yeah,
Gokul Raj.
yeah. Go ahead, Gokul.
Yeah, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's your question, Gokul? Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Ravi. Hi, thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. So I'm Gokul from Madcap. So just to give a quick background, we're building India's largest platform for people to come learn art, fine arts,
Uh-huh.
live from artists from across India. We've done
Uh-huh.
about 900 plus workshops and created 17,000 plus participants until now. My quick question is, so we've been growing 25 to 30% month on month, and we've been profitable from day one. My question is, do I focus on unit economics right now, or do I just focus on acquiring more customers? And
Growth, growth, because you're profitable. So don't do like growth trumps cash.
okay,
Always. So if you have, like, unless you get to zero margin, go all for growth, but stable growth with less
yeah.
churn.
See,
Stable, less churn growth. I don't know what your numbers on churn, and keep an eye on the churn. If your churn is low, then go for growth.
makes sense. Cool. So just a follow-up question on that, if time permits. So there's a retention level with customers, right? So we get 25% of my customers back to buy tickets again for other workshops.
Yeah.
Is there a particular way in which we can? Any thoughts on your mind that wherein I can increase the repeat purchases of customers
Sure.
for an online?
Sure. So the thing is that the product I built, push notifications, was basically used for engagement. So there is
Uh-huh.
a set of products in marketing world which are used to increase engagement of your customer. So whether it is push notification, email marketing, retargeting cookies,
Yeah,
SMS,
yeah.
these are all those mechanisms. And once they're well integrated in your product, where or whatever you're building, that you're
Uh-huh.
able to say, okay, I know this person, he's interested in technology events because he
Yeah.
came to this one. Now I'm going to cross sell this. So I think it requires a merge of the data.
Got
eh,
it. Got it.
and
Yeah.
then you can use these tools. So and these marketing channels for remarketing, or what you call as re-engagement, are the right ways. So
Definitely. Anyway, thanks for the
Thanks.
opportunity. Thank
Yeah,
awesome,
you.
awesome.
thanks, Gokul.
Yeah. So I
We'll,
think that I want to take one question from Himanshu, because he asked push engage. If you're there, Himanshu, come on. But again, I'll keep taking, because he asked how did we go to GTM. But go ahead,
Yeah,
Vivek.
yeah, I see.
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
This is
I could wait.
Vivek.
I mean,
Yeah.
Go
hello,
ahead,
can you
Vivek.
hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear
Okay,
you.
great.
Hi,
Yeah,
Vivek.
so I just wanted to expand on the question. So let me give you more context so that you'd have a better understanding.
Sure.
So basically I'm into e-commerce. InstaHippo is into e-commerce, and
Uh-huh.
what it essentially does is present media in a more engaging format. Essentially, the end goal is to have better engagement and thereby having better conversions. So that's the
Okay.
goal.
Uh-huh.
And how I'm able to present media in a more engaging format is via stories.
Okay.
So Instagram stories, for instance,
Okay.
basically there are like it's a new market essentially. I mean, the stories is there in all the social media platforms, but
Uh-huh.
slowly it's catching on. I mean, there is a lot of validation now that even Flipkart uses, for instance, on their e-commerce site on their homepage, which is
So
a
you are
highly
like,
expensive real
just
estate.
your website. So you are a Shopify story platform. What's your
Correct.
question?
Yeah. So the challenge is, how am I basically I need to convince them of the value proposition. Hey, but this is something new, right? They haven't seen it on e-commerce sites. So my primary challenge is, hey, how do I convince people that this is useful? I mean, I know there are several ways of going about it. In the chain, value chain. One thing is building analytics and showing them, hey, what, for users already who have installed that, hey, I am giving you value and I am giving you conversions, which I actually am. So but I haven't built the analytics part yet.
So if you don't mind, I'll put your company on the spot, if you don't mind. I was going to do more.
Sure. The website sucks.
No, don't worry about this.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about
okay, sure.
See, the point is, I'll say this is your site, right?
Correct.
So some of the questions are right there. So the question is,
Mhm.
yes, you're increasing engagement, but what you're hinting at is, what is the value? I don't know. You have to tell me, right? By increasing engagement, does it increase revenue by Y? So for example, if I would say push notification, I would say push notifications are 5 times higher open rate than email, right? That is how we were pitching. Or if you use push notification, you get 10 to 20% extra revenue. So
Actually,
that's number one.
1 second, sorry to disturb you. If you can click on install app and go to that page, that is the primary page for me.
Understood. That's fine. That's
okay.
fine. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, so the point I'm making, because that's the question you're asking.
Right.
So you need to understand, this is under sales and conversion optimization. Now you look at the highest. So 2-3 first quick thoughts if anybody else is on the Shopify side. Number one, Shopify is a great platform. You got to get reviews. A lot of people use free other tactics to get reviews. And once you have enough reviews, you can build. Number two, however, it's a limited platform. If you're only on Shopify, the biggest businesses I have seen are not more than $1 million or $2 million. Again, that may be big for you, but just sharing. So be aware, there is an upper limit that people hit. Number three, the churn is very high in Shopify. These are all SMB, very price sensitive customer. Again, I'm sure you know all that, but I had to say this.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at this category, look at who's the leader, right? Who's the most installed, and see what they're doing. They are product review guys, they are SMS guys. These are so what are they offering, right? They are offering a thing that they already know, right? So you got to see, is there something close where you can cannibalize and say, okay, I'm going to boost sales, boost sales with urgency countdown. So you can say boost sales with Instagram stories or whatever your stories with higher engagement. Basically, what you can see this very clearly, product review, you can't take the copy from here because these copies have been thought through, right? They've been tested, right? So to me, I just went there. This is what I would say: boost sales with whatever you said. With this is what you're doing actually. You're doing with the stories. You're boosting the sales, but how much percentage? And I guess So that's kind of where I will say. But there are more thoughts I have on pricing, but this outside the scope, I'll leave.
Great.
Ravi, just to bring one more pointer on that same one, Vivek, when I go down, you're giving a little bit more data, in fact. Like little persuasive. You're saying that 31% of the millennial and 39% of the are engaging. So I think what Ravi was trying to draw the point is it's bit there is no tangible gain. Right? If you talk about a tangible thing as a deliverable and the right at your
but he will say that he needs to look at. So here I would say. So we'll not talk about that page, but here you should see. You are only telling the feature, right?
Correct.
Not telling the money. I don't care about feature. I don't know if you understand the customer on Shopify. He's a small time mid-tier guy. He doesn't have time for all this stuff. He needs to know if you're going to increase revenue, and if yes, how. And he needs to read the reviews about it. That's it. End of story. Okay.
Right. Okay.
In the interest of time, we'll move. We can connect later.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Vivek. I think there are interesting question from Himanshu here.
Okay.
Can we bring Himanshu?
Himanshu, are you there? You want to come online, or you left? I don't know. Okay, I don't see him. Okay.
He's come online.
Okay. If you want to come, please go ahead. Yeah. What's your question?
Yeah, hi Ravi. Thanks Santosh for organizing this great session. So my question was coming from because I'm also building something for SMBs and in the marketing and growth space. And to sync with that, so ask the direct question on PushEngage because I have been using a lot of marketing products from long time, and I already know there was one signal, I would say the largest player, which was providing for free this push notification. So how PushEngage came into picture and had the positioning and or the price point? What was the differentiation which made some clicks or which made a differentiation for the end user? Like, what was it for you?
So one signal existed before we were there. They started as an app push notification company and went to the web push.
Correct.
Now, when we went in the market, there were only one or two players. PushPro had launched, and we were probably the third after OneSignal and PushPro. So we were early, and that is the other story which is there out there. If you read my story, this we build it for in-house. We were building Couponani. We always were growth hacking. We always look for new stuff, and so we were looking, and so we found it. So timing was good. That helped us. When you have timing on your side, you get more iterations. That's a benefit. Now the
Got it.
second, in terms of the positioning, we were sure we are not going to give for free. We knew OneSignal was trying the
Yeah.
model by selling the cookie data and all that stuff. There were a lot
Correct.
of
Correct.
privacy and other issues, and so we were not going to go their way. And they were also they raised money. So I was bootstrapping. I'm a bootstrapper by although I'm an
Yeah.
investor,
Yeah.
but for my company. So that was clear. Also, once you take money from somebody, you got to deliver, and they also have to see value. For me, I always prefer whether it's 100 rupees or 1,000 or 5,000, no free stuff, because it's the true exchange of value. Otherwise, you're just happy and they are just saying, oh, you're good. So that's the second point, high level. But coming to, I guess, the differentiation, we were in the mid-market segment,
Mhm.
and our differentiation over time got built by the fact that we had good scale, and good scale that could help the large customers, and they were suffering in other places where with scale people were not going up. And OneSignal at that time was extremely tech centric. It wasn't meant
Yeah.
for marketer. You had to be a developer to use it. And so a lot of marketers came to us and they liked it, and it was very easy. While we did not have what I call the eye candy, which means a very good UI, but we had what you call the very good user experience in the minimum clicks. And this came from our own, like my own marketing experience and having a super simple product. And that just helped. In fact, to the extent that we did a revamp of our UI with a newer version, customers said, no, the older version was much simpler. Even the newer was very good to see, because we had thought through in a way that minimum click. Anyway, so that's the answer there. But I guess, and then we cracked on our content marketing and so many tactics. I mean, I have a YouTube video. You can check how I acquired 1 to 100 customers, and then it'll give you some of the answer on the tactics if it helps you. But yeah, marketing tech is competitive. You got to
Yeah.
excel in the marketing tactics with the product and the marketing tactics. Unless both two are there, it'll be very hard to grow.
Got it.
But we
Got
can
it.
cover more offline. Okay.
Yeah, I would check out those videos probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there is
Thanks.
one YouTube channel where I have. I'll put in the chat also. Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Very much.
thanks,
Thanks.
Himanshu.
Yeah.
Thanks. Anybody else wants to come online or put the question? If you're like, if you want to just put in the chat, that's also fine.
Yeah, Hemant from that IntelliCook has a question here. I'm not sure
Yes.
if he's online, but we
Sure.
can take this question.
Yeah.
IntelliCook is a robotic chef. Should we prototype before experimenting a cooking machine?
Yes. Absolutely prototype, because I don't know the cost, etc. But do a prototype. We always say that before you build the stuff. This is kind of, I think I would, and prototype will be cheaper, and also you can get the feedback, and then you can, that's what I would think. But again, this is my understanding of what you are saying. If it implies something else, then please share. Okay.
Got it. Two more questions. One, how to build a different sales channel to generate more frequent revenues in SaaS?
So I guess, again, I'm not fully following the question. When you say frequent, you mean repeatable revenue, or like something predictable, right? Is what I would say.
I think
And when
predictable.
you say different, you mean a variety of sales channel, right? So I think it depends on the segment you are in. It depends on what you're selling. Often there is a basic thing called the inbound and the outbound. If you're in a business where you're doing outbound is often lower conversion but more predictable, which means you're finding the leads and then making cold call and setting demos. It can have larger cycles, right? But inbound is less predictable but can be very low cost. But this is all SEO, organic search, content marketing. So I would use inbound or outbound depending on where your strength is. Our strength was inbound because that's what I knew, right? But those who have done well actually go both inbound and outbound. And within that, there are many models. I'm happy to go deeper as you ask the question. Okay, so I guess we have got Gagan. So go ahead, Gagan. We will take your questions now.
Hello, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. So I actually tried messaging you on LinkedIn. I don't think so, but you haven't seen because you're a busy man. But I'm from Find This, so it's based on a retail, like how like we have local retail stores and all everywhere. Like the maximum transactions happen in a local retail shop. So we are being ignored there. So what we do is like you can actually order your products online here. So be it groceries or anything from the local small kirana stores also. So once you order it, you can get it delivered, or else you can pre-order them and you can go and collect it also. So this was the idea, and I personally during the last lockdown, I just coded a prototype kind of app. So then when I went to investors, the problem was like they're asking they're asking like there's a lot of burn ratio, like the amount you need a lot of money for this, for like they're asking me to experiment, but I don't have the amount like to experiment it. I don't know how to do it.
So I'll say one thing: if you reached out on LinkedIn for funding, I would not have responded because I'm not doing any direct funding now. The only places I'm investing is actually into the funds itself because of the time. Now, coming to your question, the space you are in, which is a grocery market, it does require some amount of capital. I have seen some attempts of bootstrapping it. There could be a way. I do not know. I can think of saying like a higher level, but it could be like I have seen people build using WhatsApp or using, say, I mean, even people listing on Dukaan.io, I've seen, so there could be some what I'll call as creative ways of building communities because this is lockdown and there is huge demand. I mean, big basket orders are like with a lag of 3-4 days. If you can supply at this time, you can build it, people will find it. So that's the way I would say during lockdowns would be good, and then you would be able to retain. So that's kind of the idea I have. More than that, we have to go deeper. I mean, if you can retain them and they're happy. I mean, the other one would be differentiation. Can you bring maybe the organic vegetables or farm to? Some of those other thoughts could be there. I mean, so that people think of you as not another, big basket or grocers, right? Because they're already the large players. Right?
Sure. Yes, sir. So, but basically, what we do is we don't provide the like products and also we have to like tie up with the retailers. So,
I understood.
acquiring the retailers is a problem currently. So that's what I feel.
Oh, okay, so there again, I even feel the retail acquisition may not be a hard problem. You can convince it, but the hard problem will be once somebody places an order, how do you ensure that delivery happens? Because nobody will, I mean, they may take an order for 200 rupees, but that guy may be so busy, he will have no time, right? So usually then people who provide this platform have to think of delivery as an add-on service. You cannot say, I will give only online platform, because then your value is restrictive.
Correct.
You got to solve for the retailer, maybe give delivery as an add-on and say, okay, whatever online you're ordering through my platform, I'll get my guy, he will pick it up, so it's incremental revenue. That's an example. It's not
Yes,
only,
sir.
yeah.
Think
Santosh,
from an entire customer lifecycle point of view. Don't think at one point saying, I'm giving one side of the story only. Think who is the end customer and why a retail will team up with you. That's also important. Just because you're giving me a discovery, that doesn't solve my problem, which is what even Ravi going to that point. Who will deliver that product to me? And then there is a complete cycle here, just not one end.
right.
Yeah.
So I think I saw a question by Rajkumar. Thanks so much, Gagan. If you have more questions, then we follow up.
Yeah, we'll
Thank you
take
so
the
much.
last. Yeah, we'll take one more question. We have
Ayush also from Amor, who says, how can we get some early traction, pre-orders for a hardware product before we actually launch it?
Okay, I'll answer that, but I put this question from Rajkumar. Give me a second, Punya Shloka. Rajkumar asked, give me suggestion on the landing page. And just because I'm interested in landing page, I just put it. We did a session. Again, feel free, guys, in the chat window. What do you guys think? This is for everybody. I will try to give an answer. And again, Santosh and you guys also feel free to give a feedback. I'll try to see.
Yeah.
So we are creating a healthy feature. We teach exercise to kids and teens, and we do this slowly. Okay, this is good. Of course, on the face it is coming. It could be crisper. Okay, starting at price, this is good. I know what it is. Demo session booking is good. Now you got, see, starting at price, this color, this, all this is, but you got two CTAs, sign up and this. So it's confusing. Only one CTA is always advisable. And then you're changing colors too many times here, right? This is again minor one, but this is fine. I mean, this is good. Okay, all right. What seems in so the question is, how are you different? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, you put a Reebok logo, that's good, but I'm not sure why I should try you. I mean, I don't know what's so unique about you. Given the price, are there like I don't know. I mean, have you taught thousands of kids? You have to think of how you position this, saying, hey, we got kids doing 100 hours of exercise, whatever it is, right? And so that's something that I would say you should look at, right? And I guess whose question was this? I mean, I'm sure you were there.
Rajkumar.
Okay, Raj. Okay, so you can tell in the chat, or you can also come online. So that's one. And then, yeah, that's what I would say. The other is phone number is here. That is fine. I mean, on the top, I think it's fine overall. But I guess what we need to find on the top is the differentiator, right? And again, some of these images may not be targeted to the audience. This seems like a copy paste, so that's the way I would look at. Otherwise, it looks okay because it's like a lead gen only, right? So I would assume you're still getting maybe without differentiation, maybe 4 or 5% people clicking, or maybe 10%. But if you put a strong differentiator, some social proof, then it will increase. Okay, so I'll stop at that. Okay,
Punya
Punya
Shloka.
yeah, please go ahead. What's your question? Please?
Hi, Ravi. Yeah. So actually, we are mainly into sales in the off market. I mean, the Minimize Labs mainly work on the garbage management solutions for the government, and we have given a lot of customers on the free trial period, like that started from January or February or March, and because of the COVID situations, they keep on asking for extensions. And how do we tackle that, like at this point of time?
Yeah, I'll take that. Before we move ahead, there were 2 good suggestions in there. People said put some videos of the exercises you do teaching kids. I think that's a good one in the prior one before we go ahead. Yeah, Punesh, sorry, I missed a part of it. Can you repeat this one more?
Sorry. Yeah. So we are in the B2G segment, and we have a couple of customers who are already in the trial segment, like for 30 days, 60 days, or whatever. So in that phase, how do we take it further in COVID kind of situations? Shall we extend, like all the customers keep on trying? Because
see, in COVID, this is our experience. We had around, I guess I won't say the percentage, we had some amount of exposure to travel customers during COVID in our time. And they were really bad. They were very large companies, but I knew the marketing managers didn't have the authority to have such a large, spend. So we went ahead and gave 90% discount to them. I mean, this is unusual. Nobody talks about it, but we did it because we felt they were hurting, and we said, okay, you be there. I didn't make it free, but we made like so huge. So, and so that way they retained. And then in 3-4 months when they came, they really appreciated and they stuck, right? So my answer to you would be, you can't take money. You worked on that customer. What are you going to do? You're going to say, hey, I'm not going to serve. If your cost is too high of serving, then maybe. If it is not, then just let it be and let the COVID be out in a month or 2, and then just say, hey, during COVID, I gave free service even though we burned cash. So you talk to them, ask them to pay for a prior period. They may pay later. I'm just saying.
And so one more follow-up question. Sorry to interrupt. So we have a USP selling what we actually offer, but the customers keep coming up ask for a product around something which has suitable requirements, but a different set of product itself. So how do we manage that? I mean, shall we just let it go as a requirement, or shall we also start pursuing all those requirements, which is...
So this is a question which according to me comes where you have certain set of customers and then something which is slightly different than them, and then they may have some requirements. So how do you know what is the requirement that targets your ICP, or is it like, will there be other customers? So the one way to look at it will be what they've asked for. Do you think there are other governments or other people who are your customers? Would they want that? Go and ask them, will they also like the same stuff? If 3 people say yes, or whatever the critical is, then you build it. If only they are the one, and this hunch you have to build as a product market or whatever that you're doing, right? If there are more people looking for that solution, ask them. If they are, build it. If not, then fine. But you also ask the question, if by building, can I ask them for more money?
Yeah. So take some upfront, or say that I'll not charge you for the next 12 months, but I'll charge it only for the building. Make some money and ensure that this is critical, right? Sometimes what customers do is that they want to extract more value for themselves, not for you. And you will be getting cut in building something which is irrelevant, not relevant for you at all for your business. So be careful.
I will even go and say, for us, for very large customers, if there was a feature they wanted, and this again you will read on the web, nobody says no, don't build customer feature. Everybody says SaaS, but no, we did build, and we looked at features which were reusable, and then we made people to pay for it. We had custom charges, one-time charge, $5,000, $10,000 for that feature getting prioritized higher, and our big customers were happy to pay that. And so we understood the big guys who had the money and they wanted a feature. We said, hey, can you pay higher? We'll prioritize, because otherwise it's going down. Maybe, I don't know, I mean, we were just making sure. It also, that question made sure they really wanted it. If they were willing to pay the $5,000 extra, we knew that they really wanted it. They were not saying. Otherwise, what happens if you ask somebody, you will give a full list, but they really don't need it, right? So that's a problem. Fantastic. I don't know if it applies in your case. I'm just giving as an example.
Yeah. That's
right.
Thank you. Thanks, Punya Shloka. Last 2 questions before we come to the end. We are almost 2 minutes lot of time. This is Ayush Munia. How can we get some early traction pre-orders for a hardware product before actually launching it? Second question is, it's the same question. Repeat.
So I think the hardware products are often little trickier, right? One way could be, I can think of the common ways people do. If it's a product that is so useful, is it a B2C or is it B2B? That's my first question. If it is B2C,
I think it's B2C.
Okay, if it's B2C, then you can do this campaign where people are crowdfunding campaign. It's a great way of doing pre-orders, right? Then make a video of your product and just start pre-selling it. That's just nowadays it's huge. Make a landing page and talk about the value of the product even before it comes. There is, assuming it's such a B2C that can be shown to everybody and people, and then maybe you give them a special discount, say, if that is what is important to them. If not, then don't give a discount. I'm the last guy to ask for giving discount, but just say, okay, if you buy as an early customer, there is special things. So they may want to, pre-order. I think that is very common trend happening nowadays with hardware products, especially like the smaller ticket size, where people are fine with maybe spending $500,000 in pre-ordering, right?
I think one last one came. Raj Sharma, for a SaaS product, should we start charging soon as we launched, or should we let customers use it maybe for a month free and then start charging them?
Yeah, so I usually feel when you are very new in the market and it's a mature market, then you can't charge because your product may not be strong. But let's say if you're creating a new market or you are got a product which is as good, you can charge from the very beginning, but people still expect maybe 7-day or 14-day trial, right? That's okay. Even a month is fine, right? The question to ask is your product that good that you are okay to ask them? What we found in our experiment was there are two ways to charge. One is to charge the full amount, or you can say, we'll charge you $1. You just put your credit card, and after 14-day only we'll charge. So what it acts as a gating factor. They can still cancel during the 14-day, but you have the credit card. That is always a better approach than getting the freeloaders who don't want to put the credit card. That means they're not serious. Of course, you lose some people, but then you'll get the people who are willing to get a card on the file and get $1 swiped. That's what I would say.
Fantastic. So I think we have come towards the end of the session. Thank you, everyone. We have we are launching a GTM program, very soon. So if those who found value from this session and you would like to, get some dedicated solutions around this, I've shared a waitlist link for you, right? I would suggest or request, if you're interested, to go sign up for the waitlist there so that you'll be one of the early few who will get notified when this comes in, right? And second thing is, this was extremely valuable learning session for all of us. As founders, all of us are learning every day, and I'm sure you took away a lot of tons of key nuggets from Ravi's session today. If you found this valuable, I've given all of our Twitter handles there and social media handles. Would love to have some shout out from you guys so that more founders can leverage such future AMA sessions as well, right? So, so thank you, Ravi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who has joined in. Great conversations, some great questions. Thanks, Santosh. And, on behalf of Santosh and myself as Bimlesh Gundurao from Foundership team, and I would love to thank everyone for making this AMA session a very interactive and engaging one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.